Today I am explaining to you simulation. So what do you mean by simulation? Simulation is the model process of designing a model for a real life system. So simulation is one of the techniques that we have in OR and QT, which uses the model to explain a real life situation. So whatever model that we come out with, experiments will be done on that. Based on the observations and the behavior, we go on to actually implement the system in the operations that we have in the organization. So the example of simulation is globe. So we all know, if I have to explain to you how a globe is, you will not be able to understand it. If I bring a globe, model of a globe and explain to you, you will be able to understand the continents and the river, ocean. Is it not? The system can be better explained. So this is about simulation. So speaking about the simulation, there are a lot of applications that are available with simulation. First one is queuing system. So what happens with the service organizations is, service entities are supposed to process the customers who come for availing the service. Better example would be a bakery or a petrol bunk. So to what an extent is the service rate, what is the idle capacity, how many customers are what is the rate at which the customers are serviced, how many customers come, and what is the queue that is maintained, is it not? So the various aspects pertaining to the queuing that we have in the service can be better attended to with simulation. Next one is inventory system. So we know that the organizations have to function with utilizing a lot of raw materials. So you have various categories of raw materials. Example, say category A, category B, category C. So fast moving, very fast moving, is it not, slow moving, so on and so forth. So there are so many categories of inventory which are available. So through the simulation you will be able to understand as to how you can process the inventory system in the organization. And next one is replacement theory. So organizations do use machinery, they use furniture and so on and so forth. Over a period, they do have a shelf life. Over a period of time, I have to replace that. So with the simulation, I will be able to understand when and how. What is the process I need to undergo? What is the earmark, or how much should I earmark as a amount for the replacement of machinery? So that can be well attended to. So next one is PERT project. So in case of construction industry, it involves a lot of activities to be done at the construction site. So that has to be scheduled in such a way that there is less movement of people, labor, materials, and so on and so forth, so that you can reduce the cost. So simulation will help you out in working out PERT analysis. Next one is financial risk analysis. So financial risk analysis. So coming down, usually risk and return go hand in hand. Higher the amount of risk, higher will be the returns I will be able to get. So with the risk analysis, I will be able to understand what is the limit with which I can sustain with a certain level or degree of risk. So this can be better calculated, risk level can be better calculated and being managed with simulation. Next one is healthcare system. So if you go to the hospitals, there are so many departments, is it not? We always have a shortage of people, shortage of time, and the facilities that are available. So there are certain departments where the patient inflow is more. So you will be able to understand which section needs more attention, or how can we better manage the available services with the treatment, and how departments can schedule their operations. All those things can be worked out with simulation. Next one is traffic control system. If you take into consideration the cities or the towns or cosmopolitan or metropolitan cities for that matter, traffic plays a very huge role in the productivity. So the traffic department can work out the traffic volume on a particular given day, especially during the peak hours, and make sure that the traffic is kept intact and that is better managed. so that the individual productivity, organizational productivity and social productivity does not get affected through the traffic flow. So urban sanitary system, even in urban sanitary system also you can have the simulation model being applied. So now let us go to the next one, that is advantages. What are the advantages we have out of the simulation system? Large and complex real life situations can be better handled with simulation technique. So you can have a model being developed and do the experiments on that if it is feasible for you financially, economically and technically, only then you can implement for the whole organization. So that's what it is here. Experiments on the model and not on the system. So whenever we work out a simulation, you always have the model being developed and whatever you do, that will be done on the model. So if it is working there, any loopholes or any corrections can be corrected there. If it is not at all feasible for you to go further, you will drop the idea of implementing the same for the whole organization. Next one is, it's a pre-servicing test. As I told you, in case of simulation, it's a real life models which are real life situations are worked out with a model. Only if the model is working, you will implement it for the organization. So when you are taking a policy or a decision, it is better that you go for pre-service test. That will be facilitated through simulation. And finally, sometimes you may not have other tools. So this is the only tool that is left over. There are various other techniques which are available in operations research and QT. If other systems fail, then you can go with this tool. And speaking about the disadvantages, it is always expensive for you to have a simulation model being done. Second one is it's a trial and error approach. As I've already told you, it's a trial and error approach that we follow, in the sense that whenever you are working out a real life problem with the model, there are chances that that may not reflect the real life situations per se, and you may fail to get the results that you would have got in the model when you really apply into the system. Next one is, it may not give an answer by itself. There are a lot of problems that we encounter when you come out with a model, implement the model at the organizational level. So these are all the various theoretical concepts that we need to understand in simulation.